Part 2. I stood frozen in front of the fireplace. My hands were shaking. The photograph couldn't be real. It was me, 8 years old, wearing the same blue jacket my mother bought me for my birthday, standing beside the old treehouse I used to play in every summer. But this wasn't my family's property. I'd never been to this house. At least, I didn't think I had. Then I noticed something else. In the corner of the photograph, someone had written a date. May 14th, 1998. I whispered to myself, "That's impossible." That photograph had been taken the summer before my father died. I remembered that day perfectly. Or at least, I thought I did. I searched the entire living room. Every shelf, every drawer, every picture frame. The house felt strangely familiar. Not because I remembered it, but because little things kept triggering forgotten feelings. A blue rocking chair, an old cuckoo clock, the smell of cinnamon, fresh lavender hanging near the kitchen window. I couldn't explain why, but every room felt like somewhere I'd visited in a dream. Then I entered the hallway. On the wall hung dozens of photographs. Family vacations, Christmas dinners, birthday parties. But halfway down the hall, one picture stopped me cold. It showed my mother. She looked much younger, laughing, standing beside Eleanor, the same woman from the lawyer's office. They had their arms around each other. Best friends. I couldn't breathe. My mother had never mentioned her. Not once. I hurried back to the lawyer's envelope. Inside, beneath the unopened letter, was a small leather notebook. The first page simply read, "If Ben is reading this, then I kept my promise." I slowly turned the page. The handwriting was beautiful, steady, elegant. "Dear Ben, you don't know me, but I have known you almost your entire life. Before you were born, your mother and I promised each other something. We promised that if either of us was ever left alone, the other would never let the family fall apart." I stopped reading. My heart was pounding. I remembered my mother once saying she had a best friend from college. She never told me her name. Could it really have been Eleanor? The next page answered the question. When your father passed away, your mother was devastated. She refused to ask anyone for help. She was too proud. So we made another promise. I would help, but you could never know it came from me. I looked around the quiet house. Everything suddenly felt different. Had she really watched over us all these years? I opened another drawer beside the fireplace. Inside were dozens of receipts. School tuition, medical bills, winter coats, books, even the receipt for the bicycle I'd received when I turned 12. I remembered how surprised my mother had been that someone had anonymously paid for it. She spent weeks trying to find out who. She never did. Now, I knew. Tears filled my eyes. Every time life became impossible, someone had quietly stepped in. Not to receive thanks, not to be remembered, simply because she'd made a promise. As the evening grew darker, I walked outside. Behind the house stood an old oak tree. It looked ancient. Its branches stretched across the entire yard. Then I noticed something hidden behind it. A weathered treehouse. My heart nearly stopped. I climbed the wooden ladder. Every step creaked beneath my feet. Inside, time had frozen. There were old comic books, toy soldiers, colored pencils, a baseball glove, and carved into the wooden wall, 2 names, Ben, and beneath it, MOM. I stepped backward. No, this can't be. I'd been here before. Years ago. I simply didn't remember. Suddenly, a memory returned. My mother bringing me to the countryside one summer after my father's funeral. She kept telling me, "We're visiting an old friend." I had completely forgotten. Children forget. Adults lose pieces of the past. But memories never truly disappear. As I climbed back down, I noticed fresh flowers beneath the oak tree. Someone had placed them there recently. A small pickup truck pulled into the driveway. An elderly man stepped out. He removed his hat. "You must be Ben." I nodded carefully. "Who are you?" "My name is Samuel. I lived next door for 30 years. He smiled warmly. "Eleanor talked about you almost every week." I stared at him. "She did." He laughed softly. "You were the son she never had." I felt my eyes begin to sting again. Samuel looked toward the old house. "You know, every birthday, she baked your favorite chocolate cake." I frowned. How could she know my favorite cake? He smiled. "Because your mother told her. But Eleanor never brought it to you. She donated it every year to the children's shelter. And she always said, maybe somewhere Ben is celebrating today too." I couldn't speak. Night had fallen. I finally returned inside. The unopened letter still rested on the table. For several minutes, I simply looked at it. Then, Very carefully, I broke the seal. The first sentence made my knees weak. If you're reading this, then I finally kept the promise I made to your mother. I took a deep breath and continued reading.